Peace and blessings. This is Fatima Shani with Phoenix Organics and Wellness, LLC. I've been in wellness industry for about 18 years. It started with self-care for myself after 9/11 and when my mom passed away. It moved on with people, friends and family coming to me, asking me how to take care of their hair, how to take care of their skin, and basically how to maintain overall wellness. So that prompted me to share what I knew. Right? I started teaching yoga actually in 2002 at Rutgers Newark Gym. Yes, that's where I started. And I grew from there. I started taking on private clients. I started teaching at gyms in the area. And then I had children. So I gave up the practice for about 7 years and I felt a void. So I tried to figure out what that void was and tried to fill it with a career aspirations. But I was on the wrong career path because the right career path is pursuing what you're most passionate about. And so I found that yoga and holistic care is what my passion is. And so I began to pursue that. I found out that in this year or this day and age, you have to be certified to do all of these things. You have to be certified in herbalism. That's an actual certification. You have to be certified in yoga. You have to be certified in movement therapy if you want to help people expand and be more flexible. So I started that journey. I started with my yoga certification in 2017. It was only 2 years ago, I know, but I had already been doing it for 15 years. So getting the certification was just the icing on the cake. Immediately after that, I began apprenticing with Rootwork Herbals. That is Amanda David. And I began apprenticing with, at the same time, believe it or not, even though I'm like an adopted apprentice, but I still want to shout her out, Empress Karen Rose with Sacred Vibes Apothecary in Brooklyn. Those are my two biggest mentors in herbalism. I actually, again, didn't even know that the world existed. And they not only did they expand my lifespan, meaning you create longevity when you continue gaining knowledge. So they expanded my lifespan by giving me more knowledge. And they gave me a tribe or family, women that are all across the world that are doing and teaching holistic care and actually being successful at it. That's what's most important, that they're not only doing what they love, they're not only healing people, but they are successful at it. They are creating abundance in their own lives. And that is what I wanted for myself. And so, again, continued apprenticing. I'm still apprenticing under them. I created Phoenix Organics and Wellness in 2019. It was only Phoenix Organics because I started making just small products, teas and tinctures and oils, and again, not knowing there's a whole world of this. So when I found that world, I expanded on my teas and tinctures and began growing my own herbs because now I'm an herbalist, so now I know how to do all those things. I began infusing the herbs and making my own essential oils instead of buying them, right? And I began healing people on a holistic level that I could never have dreamed of prior to doing this. And so I definitely want to thank those people in my life that have been along that path and had the divine timing to come into my life when it was meant to be there. So that is my spiel. I have some herbs spread out here. I wholly believe that you cannot, and I know that Kilo is a strong believer in this as well, you cannot just do one thing and think that that works in your life, right? You have to do a multitude of things. When they say everything is in moderation, you must take a whole bunch of little things and you put them together. For example, just taking peppermint is not going to cure you. But if you have a combination of herbs, that will cure you. Just doing yoga is not going to make you flexible, more balanced, more peace of mind. You have to combine that with other aspects of your life to create that lifespan that you desire, right? So in front of me, I have shiso, I have echinacea, I have comfrey, I have monarda or bee balm, and I have nettle. Going back to shiso, this has actually become one of my new favorite herbs because I had no idea what it did until I was at a farming event in Atlanta, and the gentleman who was leading the class, he spoke about a shiso plant and its importance. Shiso is in particular important to men in enhancing their libido. It actually increases metabolism. It calms the heart and it calms the mind. But it also helps with the pancreatic nerves, which is where the male comes in, right? So this is a superior herb to have, which is why it's dark. It is a daily herb to have. Shiso is one of those super herbs that you actually can take by itself daily, and it will actually prevent and heal the ailments that relate to it. Echinacea, we are all familiar with echinacea. It's a preventive. It helps you keep from getting the flu, etc., right? But echinacea, not only is it a beautiful flower, but it does so much more for the body. Echinacea not only prevents you from getting the flu, but it also takes care of a sore throat. If you have like a nose drip, it helps with nasal drippage. It also helps with ear aches. And it also helps you clear up if you have any mucus or bronchial congestion. Comfrey. Comfrey is a external herb. What they mean by an external herb is it's one of those herbs that actually cannot be digested. Or if it is being digested, it must be monitored on a regular basis to avoid you from getting any liver or kidney issues. Comfrey is actually really good for if you have a broken bones, if you had sprained an ankle, and quite recently, actually, my son fell down and hurt his ankle. And his ankle was like completely swollen. I did not take him to the hospital. I didn't take him to the doctor because I'm also a movement therapist. I was able to check to see whether or not the bones were broken. Considering his bones were not broken and his joints and muscles were just swollen, I actually created a compress, using comfrey. All I did was take the dried comfrey, smash it up with a little bit of water, put it on his swollen joints, wrap it up in a compress, and let him sleep on it. In the morning, I would take it off for a few hours and I put it back on. Literally 3 days later, he was walking. So this is what comfrey does for you. If you have a broken bone, you are allowed to drink comfrey tea. You are allowed to drink comfrey tea for the 6 weeks that it allows for your bones to heal. Because it is internal, it will not only heal the bones from externally, but it will heal it internally and create an actual regeneration within your bones. So, but once it's done, that's it. Because it can cause liver and kidney disease and cause a lot of problems in that area, and we don't want that. So if you are to take comfrey internally, that is to be monitored by a naturopathic doctor or an herbalist like myself. Moving on to my other super flower power. This is monarda, or AKA bee balm. You'll see this in a variety of colors. My favorite color for this flower is a deep red or plum color, because for me, the darker the green or the darker the flower, the more it can impact you or benefit you, right? So Monarda, aka bee balm, is a super flower. Why is it a super flower? Because it basically does everything. So I have been taking that daily because I recently moved from Texas to Atlanta, and now I'm up here in North Carolina. So why have I taken that daily? I've taken that daily to maintain the pH balance in my body to avoid from getting any allergies. That's number one. Number two, I've been a little congested. So Monarda also helps with that. Number three, I've had a toothache. Monarda also helps with that. Number four, I haven't been feeling my complete self, so I have been taking the essence of Monarda, which I'll get into on another time. But if you take the essence of a flower, it actually gives you the energy that the flower creates. And because the Monarda flower creates an energy of peace and joy and happiness, I was taking the essence in order to get a pick-me-up. So these are all the things that Monarda does. It also helps with digestion. It also helps with indigestion. It also helps with blood flow, high blood pressure, low blood pressure, right? So this is Monarda, aka bee balm. Last but not least, we have nettle. Some people call it stinging nettle because the actual plant itself will sting you if you touch it in a particular way. So, and that's at its maturity. Nettle is another super herb because you can eat nettle raw, just like you eat salad. You can put it on your salad. It's just like a super green herb. So it also helps, it's a diuretic, so it helps you with your liver flushing, with the kidney flush. If you are having trouble with blood flow, the nettle also helps with that. It also helps with high blood pressure, low blood pressure. Nettle also is super packed with iron. So for you vegans out there, if you just sprinkle a little bit of nettle on top of your salad daily, nettle will give you that extra iron boost that you may be lacking in your diet. And there is a bunch of other ton of things that you guys can look up, or you can continue watching me on Save the Arts TV to get more information about that. But all of these herbs have different uses. For example, with the comfrey, as I said, the only external way you can take that is through tea. Internal way you can take that is through tea. It's mostly used externally. However, Monarda is mostly used internally as an essence, as in tea, even as an oil. You can also use it externally as a tincture, as a salve and as an oil to help with any ailments going on the body. Nettle, the same thing. Echinacea is actually really great externally for skin conditions. It's also great for babies to help keep their skin nice and moist, and also is good for tea for babies to keep them calm at night and to help them sleep, which people don't know. They think that's catnip. It is catnip, but it's also a couple of other things. Shiso, as I said, is mostly used internally for teas or tinctures for men. However, it can also be used externally for joints and ailments and in places and areas of the chest to help with congestion. So these are these 5 herbs that I have on display now. Stay tuned as we go through different briefs. I'll have more herbs and more to talk about. Peace and blessings.